Hey everyone, I wanted to thank everyone for such a great response that we got from our Perfect Airbrush promotion. And I'll tell you, the Perfect Airbrush does come with a great set of instructions, but if you're anything like me, I'm not really great at reading instructions. So I found it's really, while they're good, it's really great to actually see somebody do it in a video. That's the best way that I learned too. So we're going to show you how it works. It's really quite simple. We're going to give you some hints and tips and how to work with everything from a square marker pen to a round marker pen, you know, your oval shaped marker pens, even enamel pens, best ways to hold it and how to get different sprays. So real quick, when you get your spritzer, it comes in the box, it comes with the instructions, and that's the basic anatomy of the Spritzer Perfect Airbrush. So you have the bulb itself, and you've got the insert, and you have the screw. So it's really quite a simple, no-fuss airbrush. And how it works is it'll work with, we say, pretty much any marker pen that is going to be up to 1.5 centimeters in diameter. I think that works out to maybe 1 5/8 inches, but so it's pretty obvious not all marker pens are going to fit inside the spritzer, so it works with most marker pens. I found a few, unfortunately, that don't work because of the squareness. One is a Spectrum Noir and one is this Pontinate type marker, but I will tell you though, it does work, strangely, it does work with the Copic square markers, as well as if you have any of the graphite markers. It'll work with those too, and even the Marvy markers. I'm going to show you how. But the basics behind it is if you have a smaller marker pen, a thinner marker pen, it's usually good to keep that insert in place. And just position the tip of the marker so it goes over the air hole. Tighten the screw, and that keeps the marker pen in place. Now, what makes it work is air. So we want to make sure that there's air in that bulb. Give it a squeeze. Now a tiny tip will give you a tiny spray, a bigger tip will give you a bigger spray, so we'll cover that too. But what makes it work is the air that's inside of the bulb. So if you're squeezing away and you're not putting the air out, then you're not going to get anything out of there. So you really just want to give it a heel of the hand, tips of the fingers, and just give it a sharp squeeze, let the air get back in. And that's really one of the key things behind getting a good spray. That and small tip, small spray, bigger tip, bigger spray. So what if you do have a bigger tip marker or a larger size marker, one of the bigger markers, just unscrew the screw and just take that insert out. We don't need that when we want to work with a bigger marker pen. So now we're going to take a bigger marker pen and slide it in. Now position the tip of the air hole or the nib over that air hole and tighten the screw. You don't need to really wrench on it, just a light tighten is good. And give that a squeeze. A little bit bigger tip, a little bit bigger spray. Again, it's not strength. I can hold this with just like that and get some spray. It really is just a sharp heel of the hand, tips of the fingers, let the air get back in. You can go with a dotting motion or you can go with a sweeping motion. Like anything, it just takes a little bit of practice and you'll get it. Now this, again, is a basic bullet nib. So what about something like a thicker, let's see here, where's my purple Copic? Here we are. What about a bigger brush tip? So for a bigger brush tip, I just keep the insert out here and then just tighten the screw to keep that in place. Again, you don't need to really rank on it, so just give that a light tighten, just so it holds it, and then just squeeze. Let me get a new sheet of paper here so you can see that nice spray. And there you can see it gives you a nice airbrushed effect. It dries almost the moment it hits the surface. It's not going to hurt the tip of your marker pen. It's perfectly fine. Now, what about a wedge tip? So I'm going to flip this around to the other side, and I just tell people to play around with it. You'll find what the right spray is. I don't think I'd want to go that way because that would block the air hole off. Probably an easier way to this one would be to go is to just sort of angle it and then just tighten the screw lightly. This one's a little odd because it's a different shape, but just play with it a little bit and you'll see you'll get different sprays. And again, it's real quick to dry, and that's one of the Copic oval shape markers. What about a square shape marker? Okay, so this one, I'm going to try it with this bullet nib on the square tip. And, oh, it's tight, but you know what? Sometimes I actually just take the screw right out. And you can just slide this over the tip. Again, it's not hurting the nib of the marker. And now we can get that nice spray again. let the air get back in. Heel of the hands, tips of the fingers, and squeeze. Again, you can go in dots, you can go in nice even sprays. So play with it and you'll be able to figure out kind of what is the best spray for the best nib. Here, this is actually a paint pen, so you want to get it flowing, because remember, it blows the ink off the tip of the marker pen. And this is another one where that's a real tight one. I'm actually just going to position this over the air hole like that and squeeze so I can get a light spray. So it's kind of neat. You can use it with your paint pens as well as your regular marker pens. So probably the best thing you can do in terms of working with the Perfect Airbrush is just a little bit of patience. And you can get a little bit of testing around. Again, if it's a bigger marker pen, take that insert out and use it without the insert. If it's a slightly different nib or tip, just play with it. I like to do the pro markers on an angle for some reason. I find that that works a little bit better for me. Again, heel of the hand, tips of the fingers, and squeeze. Let the air get back in. Again, just instead, you could even do it this way. It's a lot up to the marker pen. Now, if you aim the marker at where you're going to go, you see where the actual spray goes. It's the air. Give it a squeeze, aim the nozzle to where you want to go, and it's just that simple. Now, the closer you go, the more intense the spray. The further away you go, you're going to get a lighter mist or spray. So just practice a little bit on a scrap of paper, and you'll be good. So really, I guess the best thing I can suggest for you is to just play with it a little bit. You'll get comfortable. Let the air get back in. Use the heel of the hand, the tips of the fingers, and just, interestingly enough, just play with your markers and you'll figure out which ones will give you different types of sprays. Pretty much all marker pens will work. It's just a matter of just finding out which ones work best for you. This is a graphite marker. I picked up one of those. This is a Marvy marker. That one is odd. You'd think, oh, that might not work because it's triangle shaped. It's another one where just give it a little lift. It'll fit over top. In fact, I could probably take the screw off on that one and I get a spray out of that. And even down to, and I think I showed in the original video, a highlighter will work. And just giving that just right over top of that chisel tip. You'll find it. Just play around with it. You'll figure out what the best. Let the air get back in. Let the air get back in, let the air get back in, and that's how you're going to get the spray. Again, it comes with a really good set of instructions, but you know, I find there's no substitute for just getting in your hand and playing around with it, and you'll figure it out pretty quick. But of course, if you have any questions at all, just drop us a line at our Perfect Paper Crafting website, and we'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thanks a lot, guys.